Welcome, I'm Aaron Dean. The Jonathan Carver Moore Gallery is the only openly queer black male-owned gallery in San Francisco. It's giving a voice to artists who've been underrepresented, all through a black queer lens. The gallery is now featuring work that gazes deeper into the bodies and souls of black men. Andrew Wilson is showcasing this work through the title Tor A Sunder. The goal is to challenge the stereotypes of black men, and Wilson embraces the humanity of those depicted while softening the hard exteriors brought on by society. Andrew and Jonathan, welcome. How are you both?
Doing all right.
We're doing good today, or I'm doing good today.
Yes, good. Well, we're so excited to have you. So, Jonathan, we're going to start off with you a little bit with some questions. Tell our audience about the gallery and how it all came to be.
Of course. Thank you for asking, of course, and thank you for hosting us. The gallery actually opened up last March, March 23rd, 2023. I really wanted to have a space here in San Francisco where people of color, queer people, and women could showcase their artworks without any question. I also really cared a lot about having a gallery where you could walk in this space and feel welcome as a new collector, as a collector that is used to being in gallery spaces, but everyone was really welcome. I think that opening the space in San Francisco has been quite a big eye opener, considering that I'm the only openly gay black male owned gallery in all of California. I'm actually located in the transgender district, which is the first legally recognized transgender district in the entire world. But I really opened it and started this gallery for it to be a space where anyone could walk through. Anyone could be here and felt welcomed here. And it was a place where artists could create without any question. Um, I'm happy to be here. I'm coming up on the year anniversary. Andrew and I actually met a year ago. And it's funny now to look back and now we see this entire collection of artworks of his that he's been working on sitting behind me after 1 year come to fruition. So I'm grateful to be here and thank you.
Yeah. So, Jonathan, why focus specifically on BIPOC, LGBTQ plus, and women artists and art? And by doing that, what has been the response to it all?
It was a need that needed to be met in San Francisco. It's a need that needs to be met throughout the art world. There are a lot of artists who are BIPOC, who are queer, who are women that are represented by galleries all throughout the world. But when you look behind the scenes, you don't see gallery directors that look like me or identify as me, right? Or you don't see gallery owners, or you don't see assistants, or you don't see curators that are people of color, that are women, and that are queer as well. So my focus when the intention was to create a safe space where all of us could be in one and be in unison with one another, be it a curator, be it a director, be it an artist, be it a collector. So that's what was really important to me, and that's why I wanted to have that focus, was really because a need needed to be met, particularly in the Bay Area.
And for you, why place this gallery in, like you said, the first legally recognized transgender district in the world? What was it about that location that made you say, you know what, the gallery has to go here?
That's a great question too. I actually looked at many different locations for the gallery. Since I moved to San Francisco 8 years ago in 2016, this is the neighborhood I've only lived in. This is the neighborhood that I felt the most connected with. And while there are no other galleries directly in this neighborhood, it was one that I felt like I could see myself being in, right? I've called this home for 8 years. I plan to be here for quite some time. Um, and there's history here. There's a lot of queer history that a lot of folks don't know about. I think a lot of people often reference the Stonewall riots, but it was actually the Compton's Cafeteria, which is the gallery is located a block away from Compton's Cafeteria, that started and led the queer rights or the civil rights movement for LGBTQ individuals. So this is something that I wanted to be a part of the history as a gallery owner, and then also where my people are.
Tor A Sunder is now open at the gallery, and we're taking you inside the collaboration between the two and what this art can do for others. So, Andrew, let's bring you on into this conversation. Tell us about this exhibit that's being featured and what was the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, so this exhibition is called Torn Asunder. So this is the second iteration of Temptation of One Dark Body, which you can see behind Jonathan. Um, Temptation of One Dark Body is a collection of 42 images and a 42-line poem, originally bound as a book with a Japanese style binding, all hand-bound. Um, and in making these photographs, there were 7 or 8 models. I can't remember at the moment. It's been a while. But while making these photographs, I did both 35 and medium format, and the double exposures that are the very large images in the space happened. Just they were happy accidents, and it was just really, really incredible that they did happen. But Torn Asunder is really thinking through um, how do we center the Black male form and think about cartographies of freedom, right? Um, and I was a nude model when I was in college, like when I was an undergrad, as a nude model for like 3 years, and that was the freest I ever felt in my life. I would never felt like I was a sexual object. I never felt like I was being kind of consumed in a very extractive way. Um, and I wanted to provide that space for my friends. So I asked my friends if they would model for me for this project, and I mean, thankfully they agreed, which was, I mean, pretty incredible considering like I'm a super queer man, and a majority of the models are quite heterosexual.
And Andrew, by showcasing, like you said, the nude black male form in a non-fetish way, how do you think this exhibit will change the way people view the black body? Do you think it'll have an impact?
I do. I do. And this work is in conversation with the lineage, right? So I guess the starting point was like Mapplethorpe's Black Book, which is highly fetishized, highly sexualized, right? This is Mapplethorpe we're talking about, right? And then kind of thinking through that body of work and uh, thinking through Glenn Ligon's critical critique of Mapplethorpe's Black Book with his notes at the margin of the Black Book, and putting that in conversation with Roy DeCarava and Langston Hughes' Sweet Flight Paper of Life. This is a conversation that has been going on for many, many years, and that I'm hoping that in the kind of honesty and the vulnerability in these images, I'm hoping that we continue to push this conversation forward.
With art, not only can you admire it, but it's all, it can also make you think, but also at the same time, it can also be a call to action depending on what is shown. Andrew, with this exhibit, what is your call to action? When people look at this, what do you want them to do once they leave?
Um, I don't know if I can speak to that
Mm,
per se, right? What I will say is, in the ways that I understand artworks, um, artworks are places that we can project ourselves into, and then they will reflect the things that we need back from them, right? The artwork isn't just the object on the wall or in space or the performance. The artwork is what happens between the viewer or the audience member and that thing. So it is my hope that audience members and viewers will be able to project their own vulnerabilities into these works and get something that they need to take back with them.
And Jonathan, you mentioned earlier that when you created this gallery, there was a need that needed to be met in this space. This question's for both Jonathan and Andrew. How do we continue to fill that gap and that void when it comes to the art space?
Well, I think one, being a first of something is something that I've been very proud to wear, but then it's also quite saddening to know that I am the first. And I didn't even look at it in that way until someone said that to me over the holidays. But the great thing is that now that there's going to be someone who is like me growing up, who can look and see that this is an opportunity for you to see yourself in that same position, to see yourself as that artist, maybe to see yourself as that curator or even just a collector. Because these are all important parts of this arts ecosystem. So when I'm really thinking about it, the need to fill that space is so that somebody else can come behind me or next to me and also do it, right? So that there isn't just one gallery like mine that Andrew can look to. There can be multiple galleries that many artists can look to and feel comfortable working with. So that's all that I'm really asking for. When you think about what's happening next, it's like I want this to know that this is a moment of hope, but then hope that we could all also contribute to that. And you asked Andrew about a takeaway. The other big thing is people need to support these businesses, right? Like you want these businesses to exist, but for these businesses to exist, as in this instance, collecting art, we need you to collect art from the queer Black-owned gallery so that we can pass the baton on so that other artists can continue creating and they can have successful careers and make things the world needs to see.
Andrew Wilson's work at the Jonathan Carver Moore Gallery in San Francisco is running now through March 16th. Thanks for watching. Download our app on the Apple or Google Play Store to stream us live, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. For the Advocate Channel, I'm Aaron Dean.